When will the new fourth stimulus check finally arrive in 2025? That's the question millions of Americans are asking right now. I see it everywhere, in comments, in community groups, and even in personal conversations. And the truth is, people aren't just curious, they're desperate for answers. The rent is due, groceries keep getting more expensive, and gas prices don't wait for anyone's paycheck today. I want to give you the clearest update possible. We'll go through what's actually written in the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025, what the promise of a minimum $600 check really means, and the realistic timelines lawmakers might follow. And most importantly, I'll separate the facts from the rumors, so by the end of this video, you'll know exactly where things stand. Let's take a quick step back before we look ahead. Remember the first 3 stimulus checks during the pandemic. From 2020 to 2021, Washington sent out direct payments to households across the country. For many families, those checks were a lifeline. They kept food on the table, helped pay rent, and gave people just enough breathing room to survive uncertain times. Fast forward to 2025. The crisis may look different, but the financial pressure hasn't gone away. Inflation has cut into paychecks. Groceries, housing, and healthcare all cost more. For seniors living on fixed incomes, or for those receiving SSI or SSDI, the struggle feels even heavier. And working families, raising kids, they're being squeezed harder than ever. So, it's no surprise the demand for another round of relief has grown louder. But here's the key. This video isn't about speculation. I'm not here to throw out random dates or give you false hope. Instead, I'll show you what the law says, what lawmakers are doing, and the real options for when and how this money could actually reach your pocket. Clarifying the basics. Let's start with the basics. Who would actually get this check if it passes? A lot of people assume it might only be for seniors, or only for people on SSI or SSDI. But that's not how the proposal is written. If approved, it wouldn't roll out group by group. It wouldn't be seniors first, and everyone else later. It's designed to go out across the board, meaning everyone who qualifies would receive it at the same time. And where would the money come from? This isn't like the earlier stimulus rounds that were funded through large spending bills. This time, the money would come from tariffs. In simple terms, tariffs are taxes placed on goods coming into the United States from other countries. That revenue builds up when importers pay those taxes. Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri introduced the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025. The idea is straightforward. Instead of Washington keeping all of that tariff money, send a portion of it back to working Americans. Think of it as a profit share. Money comes in through tariffs, and instead of sitting in government accounts, part of it is redistributed to the people. Now, some people call this a rebate check, while others call it a stimulus check. Honestly, the label doesn't matter. The structure is the same. Just like the earlier rounds, it would function as an advance on a refundable tax credit. In simple words, it's direct cash relief, whether it lands in your mailbox or directly into your bank account. Be the legislation American Worker Rebate Act of 2025. So, what exactly does the bill say? The first big point, it guarantees no less than $600 per person. That's the minimum amount written into the law. But here's where it gets interesting. The final amount could actually be higher. Why? Because it depends on how much money comes in through tariffs by the time checks go out. Every month that tariff revenues grow, the payout pool gets bigger. So while $600 is the floor, families could end up receiving more. A couple could expect at least $1,200. A family of 4 could see $2,400, or possibly more, if revenues increase. Now, let's be real. For a lot of households, that's not just numbers on paper. That kind of relief could mean catching up on rent, paying medical bills, or simply being able to afford groceries without cutting corners. But here's the challenge: politics. The bill was introduced by Senator Josh Hawley, a Republican. To move forward, it either needs bipartisan support, or it has to be attached to a larger piece of legislation. That's actually how many stimulus measures passed in the past. They weren't always standalone bills. They were often folded into bigger packages, like budget bills or reconciliation acts. So while the idea has strong appeal for everyday Americans, whether it becomes reality depends heavily on how lawmakers decide to handle it. See timeline scenarios. When could it arrive? Now for the question everyone is waiting for. When will the checks actually arrive? Here's the honest truth. Right now, there's no official date. And if you see claims online that say, it's coming on this exact day, be careful. Those are rumors. What we can do is look at the possible scenarios. Option 1. A standalone bill. Lawmakers could decide to pass it separately, at any time. That would be the fastest way, but it would require strong political push, and right now, that momentum isn't quite there. Option 2. Attaching it to a major piece of legislation. This is far more common. For example, the 2026 federal budget bill has a deadline at the end of September 2025. Lawmakers could attach the rebate to that. Another big option is the reconciliation bill, expected sometime between September and December of this year. Reconciliation bills have often been used to push through large financial measures, so this could easily be folded into one of those. Option 3. Delay. And unfortunately, this happens a lot. Lawmakers sometimes hold off, either because of negotiations or because they want to time announcements closer to election cycles. If delayed, we might not see serious movement until early 2026. So, the reality check. As of August 2025, there's no fixed date. The proposal is real, the money is real, but the timeline is still up to Congress. Economic and household impact. So what does this really mean for households? For individuals, it's at least $600. That may not fix everything, but it could mean keeping the lights on, paying for groceries, or covering a month's worth of prescriptions. For couples, it's $1,200. That could be rent in some areas, or enough to catch up on overdue bills. For families, the relief multiplies. A family of 4 could receive $2,400 or more, depending on tariff revenues. That's a serious boost that could go toward school supplies, food, or even a much-needed emergency cushion. On a bigger scale, stimulus checks often spark short-term boosts in the economy. People tend to spend this money quickly, whether it's on gas, food, or bills. That spending supports local businesses, which helps keep workers employed. Critics argue that direct payments increase the deficit, but here's the key difference. Because this proposal is tied to tariffs, the funding source is already there. It's not about printing money, it's about redistributing revenue that's already being collected. Addressing common questions. Now, let's clear up some of the most common questions. Will SSDI and SSI recipients get it? Yes. If this passes, all eligible groups receive it at the same time. Is this different from past checks? Not really. It's the same structure, an advance on a refundable tax credit. Is it guaranteed? No. Congress has to approve it, and the president has to sign it. Right now, it's a proposal, not a done deal. And finally, why don't we have an exact date? Because lawmakers haven't finalized the legislation. Until they decide whether to pass it alone or attach it to another bill, there is no official calendar date. Conclusion. So, to wrap things up, the fourth stimulus check is tied to the American Worker Rebate Act of 2025. It guarantees a minimum of $600 per person, with the potential for more as tariff revenues grow. Couples and families stand to benefit even more. The timeline, though, is still uncertain. It could pass as a standalone bill, be attached to the 2026 budget, or land in a reconciliation package later this year. But as of now, there is no official date. I know that's hard to hear when bills and expenses keep piling up. But here's the good news. The legislation is real, the proposal is active, and it's something lawmakers are actively considering. And I'll be here to keep you updated the moment we get new, verified information. If this video helped you understand where things stand, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It's free, and it helps us reach more people who need this information. Drop your questions in the comments below. I'll continue to answer them and bring you the latest updates. And if you know someone turning 65, retiring soon, or already on Medicare, share this video and the resources I mentioned so they can save money too. Stay tuned, stay hopeful, and I'll see you in the next update.